Yeah, so basically we all worked together over the course of the semester to kind of just research your guys' industry as well as your product and what you guys have done and where you guys could go. And these guys here have made quite the product. And you want to keep going here, or here we'll just go to the next slide. Keep going.
I don't want to go without.
Or yeah, if they're recording.
There we go.
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
And you can hit the next slide. So I wanted, just for those of you who don't know what Vishal, Ryan, and Andrew do and what they did with their product. So basically, Quantified AG, they developed this ear tag. So this ear tag here, as you can see in the photo, connects to the ear of a steer or cattle or in any herd, in any individual one. And along with that, they have an inventory system, a database that collects their biometric, or their vitals. So basically their temperature, which leads to tell which cattle, steer in the herd is sick, to help cattle or feedlot operations tell whether to pull the animal out of the pen to help them save money in the long run to avoid illness. So basically this tag here, I'll pass it around, you can kind of check it out. Andrew gave that to me last time we met out in Milford. These guys do a great thing here and really can progress the cattle ranching industry all across the world. So go along here. And basically I wanted to start off as to why these guys are necessary to the industry. And just the kind of 4 big points here. It's an easy process. It makes it a lot easier for ranching operations. You can see it used to be by pen and paper, Windows 98. This is updated version of what they do. It's an easy process, easy management. You can tell which ones are sick and which ones to treat. Easy data records, which ones you've treated before. You can tell the entire history of each individual cattle. So this leads to an easy progression. And I will pass it off to Jared here. He's going to talk to you about the target audience and what we studied.
Yeah, so our target audience, we kind of focus on 2 main ones. The primary one was our feedlot owners themselves. So they're the guys that are making all the calls. They have the biggest stake in the company. Whatever decision they make, we either make them gain or lose money. So we needed to really show them that this product will be effective. It will help them make revenue in the long run. And then the secondary was the actual pen riders themselves. And what the pen riders do is they are out there in going from each pen to pen and actually recording which cattle is sick. So they're working with the cattle all day. And if we could show them that this will help them make their job easier, they might pass it on to the actual feedlot operator and say, hey, this will help us, it will help you help us. So yeah, so those were our 2 main ones. And this is just a little consumer analysis. So some of the traits that we found, not all of them had these traits, but most of them had some of these traits. They're usually hardworking, traditional, economical, strong-willed, and resistant. And one of the ones we really wanted to focus on was resistant. They've had these operations for years and years. I think one stat that we saw was the average time a feedlot owner had been at that ranch was 20 plus years. They're also kind of an older generation, around 55 or so. So if we could kind of push out that resistance, we could show them that it will make their job easier, it will save them money in the long run. And then what we've seen is a lot of our target audience is kind of towards the end of the spectrum of diffusion of innovation. And by just using our traditional methods of advertising, we can kind of show them that it will save them money, it will help them to be more efficient as a feedlot, and we can kind of push them over to be more early adopters and early majority because they haven't really adopted new technology as fast as some other industries do. So by pushing them that way, we can kind of sell the product easier.
Okay, so our research objectives, we wanted to determine a level of awareness, so see what the general community already knew about Quantified AG. We wanted to evaluate the current outlook on the device and system overall, so if they had heard about it, like what they thought about it initially, how social media is used in the industry, and what benefits does this product offer for the cattle industry. And for primary research, we conducted expert interviews. We talked to feedlot owners, we talked to pen riders, professors at the university, and a vet. And the trends we came up with from that is that they overall just thought it was expensive. That was number 1. They wanted to see the raw data that could prove that there was going to be a return on investment, that this was actually effective. They wanted to make sure it was an easy system, could potentially beat the human eye. And like Jared said, we kind of just noticed that there were no early adopters.
Yeah, and for secondary research, we kind of focused on showing the industry as a whole on what it's done in the past to advance the technology. So we kind of found out that modern cattle ranching is was caused by the progression of different inventions. Early 1900s to late 1800s, there weren't really big pens. It was kind of all cattle drives. They'd go over miles and miles. When they created new inventions such as barbed wire, that kind of helped them make the more modern cattle ranching. So just by showing them that this product is the future of cattle ranching, we can kind of help sell them on the idea more. You can kind of read those. As I said earlier, it was passed on generation to generation. A lot of these cattle ranchers have owned their feedlot for years and years. Their parents owned them, their dad's dad owned it. And there wasn't really a social media presence. I know that one of you guys wanted to focus on was social media. We didn't really find they weren't really on social media that much, so we kind of tried to research on how we could make social media as effective as possible.
So what I kind of wanted to talk about here, just pick out a few competitors during our secondary research that we could kind of come up with. So Cow Manager, we had kind of talked about this before with meeting with you guys. Vital Herd and SCR Dairy. A few of these they do focus more on dairy side of things, but at the same time with the technology in the background of it, they could maybe someday merge over. Hopefully not, but it's still a possibility. And with Cow Manager, their kind of specialty, it just connects to an ear tag, simple installation, right? However, they are under legal scrutiny, which we had talked about before, due to putting two products together and attempting to sell it. That's not very good. Don't want to have that happen. So Vital Herd, it's basically a tracking pill. They just shove it down the animal's mouth, sits in the stomach. It's a little bit intrusive, but it apparently does work for life. Dairy farms is mainly what it was kind of for. You guys probably know about that as well, obviously. But then SCR Dairy, collar, monitors activity. It's costly and low quality from what we found from our research, and also kind of targeted dairy farms more, but still had the technology to move over. And then a few things I wanted to point out. Won't talk about everything on the SWOT analysis, just strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Your guys' product predicts illness, and it has an LED indicator, as you can kind of see on the tags, not lit up, to basically be able to tell which one is sick. So it saves time, leading to more profits, and I guess just taking care of the business of your day faster. And a few weaknesses that we wanted to point out, actually going back with the strengths, I wanted to point out the inventory system is one of the big sellers. That's how you guys really show that you can help them change their entire operation and way of life. Now going back to the weaknesses here, just social media, you guys have great articles and stuff you post and all that stuff, but there's a lot of opportunity to do more. So that's kind of why we listed it as a little bit of a weakness, just kind of from what we've seen, but you guys have so much content you guys could be doing. It's amazing. And then lack of advertising, just because you guys are new, you haven't really gotten to that market yet. You can, but just haven't got there yet. And then opportunities, you guys can expand into different countries more than you already are. You guys pretty much have, the weight on your shoulders with that. And you guys have a very innovative product, so it's definitely good to see, and we can go many places with it. And when it comes to threats, just like I mentioned before, possible expansion of competitors, and one of the big ones I wanted to point out was just old school feedlot managers who know what they're doing, and everything's worked for years. And I'm sure you guys run into that with the smaller to medium operations. Big operations seem to be a little bit more progressive, like we've kind of found out ourselves. And then kind of our big statement, I guess, here for the campaign that we wanted to see, just a big sentence here, was to promote Quantified Ag as the future of agricultural technology and most effective method to date to monitor the health of cattle. AKA, we wanted to make the progression field natural for these pen riders and operations.
So some of our goals that we came up with, we kind of just want to increase overall contact and database, and so we want to just make it more, the website more attractive to people who are actually going to buy the product. So we just want to increase quality of engagement. There's 1,300 people that we saw in one of the months that we used that were coming to the website, but only 50 demos were really requested. So we just want to kind of up that and make more people come to the website that actually want to engage in it and are interested in the product.
Okay, Okay, so for the website revamp, we do like the way your website looks right now. It's a very visually appealing. We just kind of made it a little more user-friendly, and to achieve our main goals, which would be to get people to subscribe and people to sign up for the demos. So this would be like the main page, scrolling down, this would be further what you'd see. So we wanted to do this because we did show a couple people the website just to see, that had never heard of it before, just to see if they had an understanding after looking at the site, and they were a bit confused still of what it is. So we just wanted to have a more organized format here with obviously the subscription and the demos standing out on there. And then for social media revamp, we chose Facebook to use mostly. We know you guys are on Twitter right now also, but Facebook we think is just better for the age group that we're working with. And so this just shows an example of what the sponsored ads that we would recommend would be in the middle, and then these are just some of our posts on the side. So for the sponsored ads, we had the idea to do just a lot of like showing people what it is. Another idea was to do, if you submit something to like Mashable or BuzzFeed, they'll create a video for you if they think your product is worthy enough, and then that's like a good way. I know when I'm looking through Facebook, I always watch those videos that have the words, so that people don't even have to click on it to read about what it is, and people share those things because they just think they're really cool. So that was one idea for sponsored ads, and that would be also something you guys could reshare, but we just thought sharing things that might have interest to your market. So these are both obviously not from your website, but they're just things related to you guys or things that people in the industry might have interest in.
And then I kind of wanted to talk about the local news outreach. Like, this is one of our tactics that we kind of came up with. So basically just sending press releases like about your company and things, you're up to date on, keeping people in local communities up to date on your product. Because one thing that we kind of found in our research with our recordings was, a lot of people, obviously, you can kind of use your logic on this, they get their newspaper, obviously, from the local town they're around, because feedlots, obviously, are pretty much around small towns. So if you can kind of control and have articles in there, then you just spread more PR and, just more news about your company. And then we know you guys have just done a ton of trade shows and all that stuff. And don't really know if you guys have done this before, but one thing that we would recommend as another tactic is to present. I don't know if you guys are able to sign up for keynote speakers or to be the keynote speaker, or sometime hold basically a presentation that could go in the itinerary for the entire trade show. I know a lot of people have like luncheons while they're eating. They have a speaker go up to. I've been to a few trade shows where that has taken place, but I don't know if that's something that you guys can really look into, because we really would recommend it, since pretty much everyone in the industry around you at whatever location you're at is going to have all their eyes on you. So, and then one thing that we wanted to kind of come up with I guess PR relations here was an ear tag event. Now we don't know how well this would go, but you guys are the smart guys, so we'll kind of leave that to you. And when it comes to the ear tag event, whether it's at a trade show, whether it's at really anywhere you guys see fit, to be able to somehow create these or put these tags on humans. Don't know how well it would work. Might not get their temperature because you can't really fit it in their ear. However, just to basically somehow get it on these people to create buzz, whether it's at a trade show, they can walk around with it, and just to show how easy the system is that you guys have. Just so that way they can kind of see and get them talking about it, because that's really all it's meant to do. You want to keep people talking about it who are in the industry. So
we also had the idea to have them compete in an obstacle course, so then you could read their vitals after that.
And then another thing that we wanted to have that we really, really think is pretty, could be really beneficial to you guys in the long run is a scholarship. So 3 people per year in the ag, business or anything like that on East Campus, $500 scholarship, make the number how you want it, more about the concept, just to get these kids, I guess students, to know about your product and know that you supported them. And later in the long run, they're most likely going to be in the cattle ranching industry, right? So when you think about it, who's going to be the first name they have when they actually get to the operation and are working out there? It's probably Quantified AG. So, and then just kind of our tactics and outreach, just kind of putting it all on one slide here. Just as far as print, online, and social media tactics is where you guys can advertise. and stuff like that. It's all in the back with a breakdown of like the plans book we'll give you guys. But just a few things for print, American Cattlemen, Cattlemen's Beef Association, and then online for both those places as well. And then as we talked about before, Hallie did the Facebook sponsored ads, Sand Hills Ranch Expo, I'm sure you guys probably heard about that one. And then obviously the viral videos such as the Mashable, the Spark, BuzzFeed, all that stuff. And continue the word of mouth, that's the biggest way to do it, as you guys have probably learned already. Ear tag event, scholarships, and we had from Adam a $25,000 budget to make all this, so you can thank him, but we stayed under budget by $17, $24,983. And then this is our timeline also in the plans book you guys can take with you. We put everything that we talked about in there. Orders up to you, whatever you see fit. It's just something you guys can kind of refer back to. And basically, throughout this entire semester where we researched the industry, we did everything. We, as best as we could, we went out there with Andrew and interviewed you guys and talked to a lot of pen writers, and they want to see return on investment, and they want you to show it to them. They really want you to, because they're not going to believe it, as you guys can maybe see before, and that's what you guys have been doing. So the basic, they want return on investment, they want an easy system to use, and they want to be able to trust your product. And they don't want to move too quickly, so we want to make it a natural progression for them. That's all we got. Any questions at all? Or?